What's going on, everybody? It's Matt Marchese, you also known as Islanders Daily, your daily news from the four-time Stanley Cup champions, New York Islanders. And on yesterday's episode, we kind of lost it a little, had a bit of a breakdown after the Islanders game against the Winnipeg Jets, and I am still very frustrated about the Islanders. But for this episode, we're going to try and keep it a little more level-headed today. It might be tough. There might be moments where I start to slip up once more and get frustrated about the Islanders and start going, on a tirade. I don't even know what I'm saying already. The Islanders, just speaking the name, it gets me fired up. And so this is kind of what we're going to be talking about today. We're still going to be talking about the defense because it needs to be discussed. And right now, the defense has been bad. And the one player who I really want to focus on is Alexander Romanov. And the reason I want to focus on Alexander Romanov is he is supposed to be our number one defenseman after Noah Dobson left. Obviously, Romanov does not have the offensive capabilities that Noah Dobson had, but he was supposed to be our number one defenseman, and he's supposed to be our strong, solid defenseman, and he has not been that. He, in fact, has been a defenseman who I would say doesn't even deserve to be playing any minutes right now. He should be scratched, in my opinion, with his performance up to this point. And that's saying something when you have Ryan Pulock and Scott Mayfield on your team as well. So he is been horrendous, Alexander Romanov, and it's very worrisome because he just signed that 8-year, $6.25 million contract extension. He's in year one of that new deal he just got, and it's only been 3 games. I need to remain calm and remember that it's only been 3 games into the season. But so far, that Romanov looks like he shouldn't be making anything more than $950,000 a year. Like, shit, man. He has been horrendous to start the season off, and he just got that big deal. He's 26. We're going to be paying him till he's 33 years old. And if he continues playing like this, we're in deep shit, man. We're in deep garbage if he keeps playing like this, especially if you start getting those younger guys. This cap hit is on your book. Obviously, with the cap going up, it's supposed to not be that bad, but we just got to sit and hope that this isn't the case because you need Romanov to be better, and this is a serious, serious problem, and it makes me sick to my stomach almost with how that's happening. And the problem is, Romanov's positioning this season has been garbage. I feel like there's no heart in Alexander Romanov. I mean, I don't want to say that there's no heart in him because obviously every single player out there, despite maybe not playing well, obviously does not want to lose. You're not playing to lose, and they're going through something. But I have to really wonder if there's some mental yips going on with Alexander Romanov because this is not the same defenseman that we've seen. I mean, it looks like he forgot how to play hockey overnight somehow. And it's crazy to me because he was solid. He wouldn't be afraid to be physical. He wouldn't be afraid to go in front, blocking shots and everything. And now it doesn't look like him. His positioning is weak this year. And there was a goal against the Winnipeg Jets where it was a 2-on-2 and he just gets tripped up and then allows him to burn him, and then they score a goal on essentially a pseudo breakaway, sorry. And it's like, how did that happen? How did that happen, Alexander Romanov? What happened? You obviously know the defenseman skating up, or the forward skating up there. How are you letting him by? There's only one area he can go. Take him. And no, he doesn't. He just skates by. His positioning, he's been turning over the puck. I mean, how many times in these first 3 games have I watched Alexander Romanov in our own zone turn over the puck and give a grade A opportunity for an opposing team? And in fact, I just saw a stat that Tony DeAngelo and Alexander Romanov lead the NHL by a wide margin in good opportunity shots. Shots that have chance of going in, and it always seems to happen when Romanov and DeAngelo are on the ice. Other teams are supposed to score more goals when Romanov and DeAngelo are on the ice because they're not boxing out, they're not taking away shots. No, in fact, they're giving them better shots. And that is just horrible. That is your first pairing defenseman right there. And they can't do nothing besides give up grade A opportunities for opposing teams. They're essentially playing for the other team with how bad their defense has been. And I know I went on a tirade about the defense yesterday. I really don't want to go on another tirade. But there's some serious problems here. I'm not even going to talk about Ryan Pollock because we all know my feelings there. I'm not going to talk about Scott Mayfield. Actually, I kind of will when we get to time on ice between the two of them. But this is really just focusing on Romanov. And I want to say right now that I think Romanov has the yips. I mean, I know that there's a new system that Patrick Watt implemented for the Islanders, and clearly it is not working, that new system. I don't know what the hell the system is, but it is clearly not working at this point in time. And him and DeAngelo just are not in sync right now. I think you have to split up that defensive pairing as quickly as possible. But the problem is, who do you put in there? Because the other guys suck just as much. So who do you team up with Romanov and DeAngelo? I'm not really sure because I don't know. I don't know what they have to do, but either Waugh has to adapt and change the system to fit his defenseman's play style, or you got to change it up and hope that Romanov can play better with a different D partner and DeAngelo can play better with a different D partner. Because right now, those guys just seem to be miscommunicating. They've been making errors left and right. And it's just not a winning formula. In fact, it's the biggest losing formula you could come up with, putting those guys on the ice together. And they need to change that. They really do. And can they? It's up. It's up in the air. I mean, it's going to be, I think, game number 4. We're home again against the Edmonton Oilers. If this defense comes out again and lays a stinker, obviously the Oilers have great forwards. This is why this game is so important to me, because if this defense comes out and lays a stinker again, it's done. The season's, it's done. You can't do it. You can't do it. We have the home games. These are the games you're supposed to win. Home ice advantage, and holy shit, man, it is not home ice advantage. Not in the least, man. It is worse. And the Islanders, there's going to be some problems there. If this defense, if they look putrid again, where you just want to claw your eyes out while watching them, it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. And then you play Ottawa, who did just lose Brady to Chuck, so they might not be as strong, but still Ottawa, I do think, is a solid team. And then you play San Jose, who, despite losing, they're scoring like 8 goals a game. And I mean, if they're scoring 8 goals a game on some of these other teams, what the hell are they going to do to us? That's what you got to think about. It's crazy, man. But yeah, and this is kind of where it's leading into my next thing, the time on ice. Matthew Schaefer is leading the Islanders by a wide margin on time on ice, especially the defenseman. He led every defenseman by almost 10 extra minutes last game. And as good as Schaefer has been playing, you cannot be putting him out there for 26 minutes a game. You are going to run the kid into the ground. Obviously, he's 18, so he has more energies than these old heads on our team who can barely even skate for a shift anymore. But you can't keep rolling him out there for 26 minutes a night every single game. You're going to kill the guy. He is going to be worn down, exhausted, and everything in between. And that's not a winning formula. You want to develop Schaefer. You don't want to, kill the kid's career instantaneously by having him play 26 minutes on ice. And obviously, that wasn't supposed to be the case. But unfortunately, the rest of the defense can't do anything. It's just Matthew Schaefer on defense right now. I mean, Pelech, I will say, has been serviceable. Obviously, I said he's gone on that downward spiral, which is true. But he has been serviceable for the New York Islanders so far this season. And right now, the only 2 defensemen who've been serviceable are Schaefer and Pelech. And I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. I think you got to change up the D pairings. I don't know what you do or how you do it. I mean, maybe you put Pelech with DeAngelo and then Schaefer with Pollock and then Romanov with Mayfield. But hell, man, if Romanov continues playing, that Romanov-Mayfield thing might be, the worst defensive pairing of existence. But again, you can't put a defenseman who's making $6.25 million a year as your third pairing defenseman. You just can't. And that's the case with the Islanders. And, the time on ice is a serious problem because that shows to me Patrick Waugh does not trust any of his other defensemen. And if you can't trust any of your defensemen or your system, you know you got to make a change because you're rolling a kid out there for 26 minutes a night. And the other dudes are playing at most 16. And you can't do that. You need to make a change to the system so your defenseman actually looks serviceable because right now, it's not good. It is not good. And obviously, I talked bad about the defense yesterday, but I really wanted to go more in depth about the problems of the defense and more specifically Romanov. And for me, Romanov, it has to be the yips. I don't know how physically. People said he was out of shape. I don't think that. I mean, I've seen reports that he works hard every single day. He's in the gym. He's working out. I don't think Romanov is out of shape. I think he has the yips. That is the only explanation I can come up with. Is something is going on in his head that is not allowing him to play the right way. And, you have Boquist sitting in the press box watching the games. I think, why are we not giving him a shot right now? Obviously, you got decent defensemen in Bridgeport. So if you need to sit Romanov for a game so he can get his head back on, I think you do it. I think you have to sit Romanov if he continues to play like this and maybe take him to a sports psychiatrist or something because there's no reason physically he should be playing this bad. And he's the only one I can say that about because obviously Pollock and Mayfield, those guys are just old and washed up. Pelech, old. Tony DeAngelo, once again, you know what you're getting out of Tony DeAngelo, a guy who can't really play defense that much, but he can give you some offense here and there, but he's not even doing that for us right now this season. So it really comes down to how can the defense fix their problems. Wah needs to come up with a system that allows our defensemen who are old, who cannot skate, who cannot create offense, to get them a system that allows them to play defense that will stop resulting in grade A opportunities and chances for goals. And right now, I don't know if Wah is capable of doing that. I mean, this is his first real test. This is where we'll see if he can be a head coach in the NHL. And I really hope he can because I really do like Patrick Wah. And in fact, I want to say something real quick. I know I am being very hard on these defensemen. Obviously, I am nowhere near a professional hockey player. I, don't know what they go through on the daily. And obviously, these guys are some of the best players in the world at hockey. And here I am sitting on this podcast talking about them. So I want to just say that as a fan, I just wanted to speak the fans' minds. That is all I'm doing. And Pelech and Pollock have done great things for the New York Islanders. I mean, in those playoff runs against the Tampa Bay Lightning, those guys were the unbelievable defensemen. Anytime they were on the ice, I felt confident no team would score a goal. I mean, I remember when Ryan Pollock came sliding across the goal crease and blocked a goal from going in against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Those guys were some of the best defensemen moments that they gave me some of the best defensive moments that I could ever bear witness to. As I am a younger Islanders fan, 22 years old, but those guys, I want to say every single time I talk bad about a player, talk anything, I do not dislike the player, and I don't want anybody to think that because these people are human beings. They are, players in the National Hockey League, but as a fan and putting these videos out for the fans, I have to be real. I have to be real about the New York Islanders and their players. And right now, they have been playing bad. And that is all I need to say. Obviously, it's just tough. It's just tough. And hopefully they can get it right. But for Pelech and Pollock, the age, I think the ship has sailed that we'll ever see them as defensemen again. Romanov, I don't know. It has to be mental. That is the only thing I can think of. Mayfield is kind of just a goon player. He's obviously, what does he do? I don't know. Take penalties, maybe score. I know, not really. I'm trying to say something. But, yeah, it's just been tough sledding for the Islanders defense. And I'm sure they know it. I'm sure they know they've been playing piss poor. And I'm sure they want to fix it up. Nobody wants to lose. But this is on Patrick Waugh now, I think, to come up with a system for our aging defensemen where they can play a game of defense and get things going. And then finally, I want to stop talking about the defense. I want to talk about the Islanders' goal scoring or the lack of goal scoring that the Islanders have, because still the Islanders don't have a true finisher. They do not. They don't have a guy who can score a clutch goal when you need them to. I mean, look at the power play. It's actually looked very solid for the New York Islanders, and you still can't score on it. The reason for? You don't have a finisher who can score those goals on the power play. I mean, Bo Horvat was brought here to be, that finishing goal scorer, and he's not. He's not. He is not a pure goal scorer, Bo Horvat. He'll score an occasional goal, but you can't rely on him to be a finisher. You just can't. You can't. I mean, think of all the shots he took from the area where Ovechkin is. Ovechkin scores all those goals. Bo Horvat doesn't. Obviously, it's a big comparison comparing Bo Horvat to Alex Ovechkin. But I'm just using it as a goal scorer, comparison, because Bo Horvat, he doesn't have that in him. He doesn't. I mean, yes, he'll score goals, and of course, anybody can score goals as a finisher here and there. But the Islanders don't have a finisher who is consistent, who is someone we can rely on. We don't have that. There is not a single player on the Islanders where, in my head, I think they can score. And that's horrible. That is horrible. There is not a single player on this Islanders team where I'm like, well, I know they can score a goal and get us back into it. It's just not there. It's just not there. There's not a player on the Islanders who I think they can get us a goal and get us back in the game or extend the lead. And that is really sad. That is really, really sad. And, obviously Horvat was brought in here to do that. He's not. I'm going to say it. As good as Bo Horvat has played for the Islanders, he is not the player who he was supposed to be when we traded for him. You can look at other guys. Kyle Palmieri. He's just not that finisher that, he once was. Obviously, he's old too. Barzal, I think Barzal has played great, but Barzal's not a finishing goal-scoring player. He is the playmaker. He's the one who makes the passes for the players to finish the goals, and they can't do that. Anders Lee, I hate to say it, he's done. Anders Lee's done. He can't do it no more. Watching Anders Lee is like watching, somebody try and skate with stones taped to their skates. He doesn't have, he's got stone hands and stone feet, Anders Lee, at this point in his career. And the Islanders do not have someone on this team who can score them goals consistently. Now, obviously, hopefully this is just a problem for this year and maybe next year, because we do have Cole Yzerman in the system, who I think is a pure goal scorer who can finish these goals for us. And it's just been tough. The Islanders still have no finisher. And if you don't have a guy who can consistently score goals for you, you're not going to win hockey games. I've ragged on the defense on and on and on. But the offense is the offense is just to be as much blamed for not coming up with goals. Obviously, the defense has been the main problem, but the offense is not scoring goals when they need to. They're just not. I mean, Jonathan Drouin, he seems to whiff on every shot he takes. Even the goal he scored on this year was a knuckle pucker that he nearly whiffed on. And it's just going on and on and on, man. I'm sorry. It's just so annoying. It's just so annoying that for years now, the Islanders have not had a pure goal scorer. And it's tough. It really is. I mean, obviously, you can think of doing these trades, but I don't see a world where the Islanders trade Anders Lee. I mean, what's the most he's going to get for us? A future consideration? Like, come on. Who's going to take him? I think Pajot has actually played pretty solid up to this point. So if you're out of the playoffs, I think Pajot could fetch you something decent. Again, I don't even want to talk about Casey Cizikas, because why is he still playing? It's got to be like a courtesy thing for him because he's such a veteran on the team. But at this point, man, you got to get that guy out of the lineup. I mean, he's doing nothing but bringing the team down on that line. That line should be better than it is, and it's just not. And again, I mean, you can trade Cizikas, but again, what are you going to get from him? Future considerations? Hell, you might not even get nothing for him. You might get him for a bag of pucks. I mean, I'm being harsh. Yeah, I'm being harsh. Though obviously, actually, I don't know about Cizikas. Lee might fetch you a 6th-round, 5th-round pick. But it's just tough. It's just tough sledding for the New York Islanders. And then if you think about our defensemen, Pelech has a 16-team modified no-trade clause. Pollock and Mayfield have full no-trade clauses. So you can't even move on from those guys. It's so bad. I mean, holy hell, man. Some of these contracts Lou Lamoriello gave, as much good as he did a lot bad too, given some of these dudes' contracts. I don't even want to think about the Pierre Engvall contract. Actually, thinking about the Pierre Engvall contract makes me realize that we gave Scott Mayfield a garbage contract the same offseason, man. And these guys, Engvall, I don't know where he is. He's still injured. He'll never step foot on the Islanders again unless some crazy shit happens that forces him to step foot on the Islanders again. But yeah, Pollock and Mayfield are here for the long haul unless you buy them out, and I doubt that's going to happen. So yeah, it's just been tough sledding for the Islanders. Obviously, it's 3 games in. I probably need to calm down. But the Islanders, the problem is in these 3 games, you and the Buffalo Sabres are the only teams who do not have a point. And the Buffalo Sabres have been horrible. And obviously, it's 3 games in. You don't want to, lose your mind about it. You don't. But what have the Islanders showed in these 3 games that leads anyone to believe that they can compete? Nothing. They haven't shown anything that leads us to believe that they can actually compete as a hockey team, win games as a hockey team, and compete. Hell, I don't even want to say it. It makes me cringe saying it, but compete for a playoff spot. There's been nothing that they've shown that gives us, positive feelings. They've shown nothing. So when I'm saying, being harsh on them, if they were 0-3, but they were losing close games, 2-1, 3-2, 4-3, you were right in it, but you just couldn't score, just couldn't get over that hump, I'd be a little more lenient. But through our first 3 games here, the Islanders have been atrocious. They haven't shown anything that I can be positive about. Nothing. There's only 4 players who I can say have actually played good through 3 games for the Islanders, and that's Barzal, Shabanov, Schaefer, and actually, Emil Heineman, crazy enough. That's it. That's all I can say. I mean, obviously, you've had guys who've played okay, but the only ones who I can say have really played solid are those 4. And if you only have 4 guys who can play solid, you're in for a long season, man. And I think the most exciting time for the Islanders will come when the trade deadline rolls around and see what they do there. Obviously, teams overpay at the trade deadline, so I may have gotten a little too harsh on Islanders in cases Zizekas. But yeah, it's been tough sledding, and that's really all I can say about the New York Islanders. So, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I will plan on, after every game, going back and forth, talking about the problems. So, yeah, as always, leave your comments down below. I love reading them. I love communicating with you guys. And, yeah, as always, let's go Islanders.